All right, so this knife thoughts video is going to be about this knife, and this is the CJRB Feldspar. This is the full size or the large version in natural or jade G10. And first of all here, this is a friend's knife. They were looking for a new knife in the under $50 range, and I sent some recommendations, and this is the one they went with. So really grateful to Vince for allowing me to check this out and do a quick video. If you're not familiar with this knife, this is one of the more commonly recommended budget knives out there right now, especially in that under $50 and even under $40 range for some of the versions. And for good reason. It's a well-made knife. CJRB is, becoming known for making budget knives, but that have good quality. I would say that this is not maybe quite as fancy seeming as something like a Civivi. So here is a Civivi Dogma, but quality-wise, pretty similar. So that's a good comparison if you're familiar with Civivi knives to the CJRB. It also has relatively similar materials in, again, the natural G10, and then the blade on this one is D2, although there are other versions, and it is made in China. So similar characteristics between this CJRB Feldspar and a lot of Civivi knives if you're more familiar with them. It also has ball bearings similar to a lot of Civivis, and it makes for a really smooth knife. It is extremely smooth opening and closing, drop smooth in fact, and even when unlocked there's no side-to-side blade play, so that's pretty impressive. And the blade came pretty perfectly centered actually. So I was impressed with the quality and really the consistency here. It's kind of amazing the consistency that these companies are able to get. Now the ball bearings don't feel maybe quite as smooth as Civivi knives typically do. There's a little bit of kind of like not rattling, but maybe bumpiness, but as you can see, it's still super smooth, and it doesn't affect the opening or closing at all. It's extremely smooth opening and closing, just maybe a little bit bumpier on those bearings than most Civivi knives that I've had. Now, the thing that I really like about this knife is the design. So if you watch my channel, you know that I like a simple handle design because a simple handle typically makes for an ergonomic handle. And this is a very classic simple handle. You see it has a guard here, a little bit of a finger cutout, and then it has a curved into a little bit of a wider area down here, but curves down towards the butt. So that means that you can get a really solid grip in a hammer style grip like so. You can do kind of a pinch style both ways, and it just feels really good in the hand. The G10 is slightly contoured here, so it gives you a good feel on that. And this G10 is actually pretty smooth. There's not a whole lot of texture to it. It's a little bit tacky, but there's not a peel ply type texture, so it feels really smooth and good in the hand, and I'm really impressed with the ergonomics of the knife. Now, speaking of the handle, you can also choke up a little bit up above the guard here. It's a pretty small choil, but you can do it, and I think that's mostly because the plunge grind here is a gradual plunge grind. It's a choice, I think, probably partly to do with the the ease of machining that versus more of a traditional plunge grind, but either way it does allow for choking up a little bit there. It has thumb studs only, which you have probably been able to tell. I like thumb stud knives. I think that flipper knives are really popular for a long time and are still popular, but maybe aren't a requirement like they kind of seem to be on knife designs for a long time. Not having the flipper makes it sleeker in the pocket, with the flipper not sticking out here, and then it also makes it so you can cut down to the surface that you're cutting on more easily because there's not a flipper tab sticking out right here. Speaking of cutting, this is a really classic drop point style blade. So it has a saber grind. It doesn't go the whole way to the top, but it does have a pretty even seeming grind. I don't know if you'll be able to see it here, if I'll be able to get it to focus, but it seems well done. I haven't cut with this knife because again, it's not mine, but it seems like it would cut pretty well, and I really like the shape of the blade. It has some straight edge and then a nice gradual curve to a very usable tip there. The blade is relatively thick, and so that'll be the one contrast between this knife and the knife I want to compare it to. I'm filming this holding my phone, so I won't be able to show you both at the same time, but a knife that I wanted to compare this to is the Three Rivers Manufacturing, or TRM Atom. I think that they have kind of a similar design aesthetic. There's some differences for sure. In fact, I think that the handle is maybe more ergonomic for me on the CJRB, but I haven't used it, whereas I have used this one, so hard to tell. And then a similar drop point blade shape, a similar saber grind. I actually think that I like the look of the blade shape on the CJRB a little better also. And it's a thumb stud only liner lock, so it's definitely some similarities between the two. Now of course this is American made by a small family owned company with great warranty service. I haven't used the warranty for CJRB, so I can't really comment on it, but definitely some differences there. But design wise, I think you can see the similarity. Like I said, thumb stud opening, the handle shape is relatively similar, or at least reminiscent to me. The blade shape is definitely reminiscent. And so I think if you would like something like the TRM Atom, but don't, or aren't able to get one, or don't want to pay the, $180 to $200+ and would rather pay about $30 or $40, then this might kind of give you an idea whether you want to bump up to that at some point, or maybe kind of scratch the itch. But I think this is a really cool knife. I'm impressed with it, and again, I appreciate my friend Vince allowing me to check it out. I'm glad that he's happy with it. Real quick, it does have a deep carry pocket clip, and I think it's a great little knife. I plan to get one to have in my collection actually. So if you've enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to the channel and click the bell so you get notifications, and check out my social media. I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Knife Thoughts, and my website knifethoughts.com, where I post articles on knives like this and knife related topics. And last but not least, as always, don't forget to go out and do good.